Let's get more on what can be done in terms of some of these areas in Brussels that have produced these bombers and these attackers. I'm joined by Khadija Zamouri. She's a member of parliament representing Brussels in the Belgian parliament. Thanks for being with us.
You're welcome.
Khadija, you know these communities well, Molenbeek, Schaerbeek. You know these young men who live there and what makes them tick, what frustrates them, what divides them, maybe even from wider society.
Well,
what's going on there?
I think that these men, you can find them everywhere in the world. In Turkey, when Turkey got bombed, in Mogadishu, everywhere. But what makes this kind of men do what they do is actually they've missed a lot of boats. They were in a certain system, they were like left. We do know that these terrorists had a criminal background. Mm-hmm. They did rob banks. They did have, one was only left prison like in 2010. Mm-hmm. I mean, they are really criminals on a bad path. So they are easy targets to give them an identity. Mm-hmm. So these are, for me, these are losers in the mind of their age companions. And if somebody comes and gives them an identity and they mean somebody right now.
So
and
these are losers who feel they have no purpose, they're criminals anyway, and somehow they get brainwashed into joining this ideology.
Exactly.
That basically, essentially is telling them in order to fulfill your duty, you must become this type of killer.
All of a sudden, bomb, they're making history. I mean, can you imagine this being from zero to a hero? That's what they want. Why do you think? That's, of course, my analysis. Why did Salah Abdeslam run? Because he wants to be shot like a martyr, like a martyr. I don't know how to say
martyr,
it. Yeah, he wants to go to paradise. Yeah. And somebody who goes to paradise doesn't shoot himself. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. I mean, you have to do an act of. I think.
Yeah. I was saying.
No.
Continue.
Yeah. No, it's just like. Okay, it's so hard to say. I was like overwhelmed being here on this place and see all these cameras and crews. Like, oh my God, is this really happening in our town? Mm-hmm. Like, we're home. This is where I shop. I mean, I go shopping in Molenbeek. My children go to school in Molenbeek. It's a normal neighborhood.
What do people in Molenbeek say? It's become a household name, Molenbeek. Nobody knew Molenbeek a year ago outside of Belgium.
There's a Molenbeek all over the world. I mean, there are bombers all over the world.
No, I agree with you that there are, but specifically this Molenbeek. Let's talk about this Molenbeek.
What's this Molenbeek? Of course, this is important news because it's happening in the heart of Europe.
Yes.
That's why this is important. I know that. If you go to Kenya, I mean, you will not have these kind of journalists in Kenya, okay? You will have it covered a little bit on the news. But and they wanted this attention too. They wanted this attention because there's a European Parliament, there are a lot of parliaments here, and that's why Molenbeek is important.
So it's very interesting what you said, that these losers, these petty criminals, they're given an identity, they think what they're doing is heroic, as misguided, and as criminal, and as murderous as it is. Now we've identified the problem.
Yes.
What is the solution?
For me, the solution,
yes.
Honestly, it's education and investing in people. I mean, if you have, like here in Belgium and like in England too, we have a big issue in segregation in certain schools, okay? People of a different origin don't have the same chances as others. Even though they are in the same schools, sometimes in some schools they are separated in class.
But you know what critics would say to you about that? They'd say there are lots of people who are segregated, who are disadvantaged. They don't go off, blow themselves up and kill a mother of twins at the airport who's done nothing to them. So is that an excuse in a way?
No, absolutely not. Right. Absolutely not an excuse. And those criminals who bombed, they also bombed otherwise in the rest of the world. I mean, it's not only in Zaventem, it's everywhere. When I follow this news, I really, it makes me feel bad because of course it's three terrorists from a certain origin. I'm also from that origin. I'm a Muslim. I mean, it's like, am I a terrorist? Are my children terrorists?
Do you feel like do you feel like people point fingers at you and say you're responsible somehow?
Yes, they do. They do because they asked me to apologize for what happened. I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize because I'm not part of them. They are terrorists. I'm as much engaged in this as you are, or others. I mean, a mother, an aunt of a child was in that carriage of that metro. I mean, I think that she must have had the news like 2 hours ago, that she was really ripped out. I mean, completely
ripped apart.
Yeah, ripped apart. That not recognizable. The family had to wait until 2 days to know that she was gone. She was Moroccan.
Yeah.
You see, she was also a Muslim.
And she was one of the victims.
Yeah, she was one of the victims.
Well, so much sadness, so much misery.
Absolutely.
And we really hope Belgium is able to get through this.
But we will.
Yes.
We will.